Today I'm going to talk to you about shoes and what to look for when you're buying new ones. So there are a couple criteria that I'm looking for. I want the toe box to bend, just like this shoe does. I want the heel counter to be stable. I don't want it to collapse in too much, and that's from the side or from the back. And I want a stable center part, the midfoot part of the shoe. This one, nice right there. So it's going to bend in the toe, but it's not going to bend in this midfoot. It's more rigid. So this here on the heel gives my heel some support. The midfoot gets support, and my toes allowed to bend as I take my steps. So this is an example of a shoe that I would approve of, generally. The basic premise is I'm using the shoes to tell your feet what to do. So the same pair of shoe isn't going to work exactly the same for different people. It depends on the shape of your shoe, where you're at in your exercise program, whatever it may be. These ones do pretty well because they allow me to feel the arch of my foot, the inside arch of my foot. So I like these ones. I also liked these ones, but I'm going to go into why I don't like these ones anymore. Let's start with Chucks. So Chucks don't bend in the toe. They bend a little bit more towards the midfoot. They're not very stable. The heel collapses in. Now I might want a Chuck because I might want this flat sole because I'm really close to the ground. This shoe we were looking at earlier kind of throws me up away from the ground and it makes me float a little bit. I might need that cushion so that I can get a little bit of hugging from the shoe and get a little bit more sensation. But I might also not want that. So this can be appropriate for some sorts of lifting. General athletic stuff, I would not recommend it. General day-to-day walking also would not recommend. I understand that it's a fashionable statement, so you may want to keep it for that purpose. But if you are going hiking someday and you know you're going to be walking for 12 hours, don't put these on in the morning. Next, let's look at these things. These things I've seen on a couple people, and they drive me insane, so I wanted to talk about them. They bend in the toe, kinda. It's really rigid. Rigid in the midfoot, I like that. It gives me some stability there. But this heel, it collapses completely. So people don't get this heel sensation, and they don't know where their foot is in space on the ground, right? So they just collapse. They make their foot flat. So flat feet can become a function of how your bones are, but it also can be a function of the position that the rest of your joints are in. And that's what these drive. So you'll see people from behind and they'll start pushing into this side of the shoe as their heel falls inward, and they just don't have support. I don't really know of a reason I would recommend these. Chucks are cheaper. I would probably avoid the Reebok CrossFit. Sorry, Reebok and CrossFit. Just make better shoes. Now let's talk about these. So these give me some cushion in the heel, and they allow my heel to feel where I'm at. The midfoot, a little more flexible. Toe bends, okay. Heel pretty stable, right? So this is an example of some middle ground. Now, one thing you do need to notice about these, and you really notice it when you put them on, is that it throws you to the outside of your foot. Now, somebody who frequently sprains their ankles with inversion sprains, with rolling on the outside of their ankle, I'm not going to put them in these. That's a bad decision. For me, I don't really notice many problems with these, even though we have nicknamed them the ankle sprains. They give me the sensation that I need for walking around all day. So that's just another example. It's not perfect, it doesn't pass all my criteria, but it gets me by, and that's all I need. We talked about those ones. Now, these ones. Okay, so I liked these, and that's why I bought them. They bend in the toe. They're a little flexible in the mid, But the heel's pretty stable, and I'm more concerned about the heel and the toe than I am about the midfoot. So that's why I picked these up. Now, as you can see, they're old and they reek, and my hands are filthy now from just holding on to them. This is an example of a good shoe gone bad. So when I wear these for extended periods of time, my feet hurt. My ankles hurt, actually, not just my feet. And that's because they're old. Throw them away, Lance, okay? Stop trying to use them. The point of this conversation is I want you to know that sometimes even a good shoe goes bad. And then to bring back our prime example, so toe, stable middle, strong heel. Remember, the main point that I'm worried about is what are you feeling? Can you feel yourself in the ground? I need you to be able to feel your heel in the ground. I don't want you to be stuck on your toes. That's what this does to me because they're so worn away. I get planted in the ball of my foot, and my heel just feels like it's floating. This one makes my heel feel like it's being hugged. So does this one. This one, again, I feel like I'm floating. Heel counter all over the place. Maybe you want the lightweight shoe, but I generally won't want it for walking or any sort of running kind of activity. And then this. So it also will feel like it's floating, but generally if I'm wearing these, I'm lifting heavy weights and I've got extra sensation pushing me down into the ground or this external load from weights or squats or whatever it is. So I hope that lesson was helpful. If you have questions, just email me. My email is lance@lancegoike.com. It'll be in the description.